again, my little yarnivores and spiderheads. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we've got ourselves another lovely lacy stitch, the Open Shells stitch. Absolutely fell in love with how easy it is, as it is only a 3-row repeat, and I think it's gorgeous. Kind of reminds me of the virus stitch, except that the shells are aligned with each other as opposed to staggered. Really quite simple. Now, for this particular piece, I used Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, not sponsored, but I just wanted to let you know what it is that I use in case if you want to duplicate the results. Also, I used a 6mm size J crochet hook because I really wanted it to have a nice drape to it. I think this would be a great stitch for a wrap, perhaps a beach cover-up when the weather gets a little bit warmer. You know, it's still kind of chilly, but, you know, you get the idea. This is gorgeous. And going to be using the same yarn for today. This is the Anemone colorway. And without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so first things first, as per usual, the base chain setup so that you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to. So the multiple of chains that you're going to need for this particular stitch is a multiple of 12 plus an additional 4 chains. So I did 3 multiples of 12, so that's 36 chains plus an additional 4, so I've got 40 chains right here. Now, you can, of course, make this as wide as you want to. However, I always suggest, as easy as this stitch is, I do suggest to do a swatch sample first, doing a couple of multiples of 12, so that you get used to this stitch. Also, that way, if you want to make a really wide piece like a blanket or a coverlet, that way you'll know about how many multiples of 12 that you'll need to get your desired width. So, get your multiples of 12 ready, add the additional 4 chains, and let's get started. Okay, row 1, and the repeat for this pattern is going to be rows 2 through 4. So to begin with, in the 4th chain from the hook, 2 double crochets. These skip chains is going to count as a double crochet, and so 2 more for a total of 3 doubles. Now I'm just going into what I call the top loop of the V. If you want to, you can go underneath 2 loops for a little bit of extra stability, or another thing that you can quite conceivably do is do a row of double crochets to start off with, so you have a bit of a foundation. That's fine too. I'm just going to forge ahead. So after you have your 3 doubles, chain 2, and skipping 3 chains, and into that 4th chain, single crochet. There we are. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3 chains once again into the 4th chain, single crochet. Chain 2, skip 3 chains once again into that 4th chain, 5 double crochets. And that's why I suggested that you might want to do a foundation row of double crochets first, because this little chain is going to get a little bit stretched, but it's not totally detrimental to the piece, and it's really only on the beginning row that it seems to make any difference. But that's totally up to you. Either way, the crochet police are not going to come for you. It's quite all right. So we've got our 5 doubles into that 1 chain, then chain 2, skipping 3 chains, single crochet into the next, chain 5, excuse me. I was about to say chain 2. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. skipping 3 chains into the 4th chain, single crochet. Then we chain 2, skipping 3 chains into the 4th chain, 5 doubles. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pull out a little bit more yarn already. Okay. Chain 2, skipping 3 chains, and then into the 4th chain, single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping 3 chains into the 4th chain, single crochet, and we have reached the end. At this point, you should have 4 chains left over. So chain 2 and finish up by doing 3 double crochets into that last chain. Because we started with 3, we need to finish with 3. And the reason why we do 3 on either side is because that is sort of like creating half of the cluster of 5, if you will, while giving us an edge, for the edge of the piece. So your piece should look a little something like this. So you've got your chain 5 loops, your 5 doubles, chain 5, 5 doubles, another chain 5 loop, and your end pieces. So there you go. That is row 1. Okay, row 2. Start off by chaining up 4 because we want a double crochet and a chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn the work. And then skipping this first stitch, going into the next one with a double, chain 1, and double into this next double. Okay, chain 2, into the chain 5 space, single crochet, chain 2, and then into that first double over here, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into the next. And we're going to do that with these 5 double crochets. It's just a double crochet per double crochet separated by a chain 1 space. So chain 1 and double, chain 1 and double, chain 1 and double. There we go. Chain 2, single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 2, and then we have another cluster. So double into the double, chain 1, double into the double, chain 1, double in the double, chain 1, and double, chain 1, and double. Okay, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 2, and we've got these last 3 doubles at the very end. So double into the double, chain 1, double into the next. Whoop, missed that. chain 1, and then last but not least, double into that last double. It can be a little bit fiddly, but it is worth doing. There we go. And there you go. And that is the end of row 2. So it's already starting to fan out a wee bit. All right, there we go. Okay, row 3. So we're going to continue to expand our fan here, and going to start with a chaining up of 5, and that's going to give us a double crochet and a chain 2 space. So chain up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn the work. Double into, not this double, but the next double. There we go. Chain 2. Double into the next double. Okay, now from here, we're going to sort of bridge the gap. We're not going to do any chains in between our shells. So going directly from this double, we're going to do a double into the fan of this shell over here. So skipping over the chain 2 space, the single and the chain 2 space, leaping right over. Now you want this next stitch to be a little bit taut so that there isn't an unsightly gap in between. And then proceed with chaining 2, double in the next double, chain 2, double in the next, and that's how we're going to work these shells, which is just doubles separated by chain 2 spaces. So we're extending the shells out. We're having them blossom and burgeon forth. Chain 2, and double into the double. And that is it for that shell. So scooting right along to the next shell, skipping the chain 2, the single, and the chain 2, going into the next double with a double. And as long as your tension is good, it'll be nice with no major gaps in between. So chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, and double in the next. Oh, almost. There we go. Okay, get rid of my tangle. And then we are at the last group of 3 here. So scooting over the chain 2 space, single and chain 2 space into that next double with a double. Keep your tension good. Chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, thank you, and double into the top of the last. Now, you can go about it in a couple of different ways, either the third chain from the bottom or the second from the top. You want to maintain that chain 1 space regardless. And so just double into the top of that double, and you are good to go. Ta-da! So gorgeous. Also kind of reminds me of spider webs in a way, but there are other stitches that are the spider stitch and so forth. At any rate, that is the end of row 3. Okay, row 4. Now, like I said, technically speaking, this pattern is a repeat of rows 2, 3, and 4, which we're about to do just now. What I would personally suggest, perhaps, is when you are finishing your piece and after finishing a row 3, I think it looks really, really pretty this way. But we shall continue on with row 4. So start by chaining up 3. Turn the work, and that's going to count as our first double crochet. And this is actually going to be very similar to the first row that we did. So after chaining up 3 into the first stitch, 2 double crochets into that first stitch, so that we have a total of 3 doubles. There we go. Chain 2. Okay, now, not into this first chain 2 space, but into the second chain 2 space right over here. Single crochet. Then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this does not count as a chain space because we went from stitch to stitch. So in this next space over here, single crochet, chain 2, and not into this double, but into the next double, 5 double crochets, so that we can have a new shell start. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 2, skipping a space, going into the next with a single, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, thank you, into the next space, single, chain 2, skipping a double into the next, 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 2, skipping a space, going to the next with a single, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into this next space over here, single, chain 2, and we are at the end once again. So at this point, we need 3 doubles into the top of the last double. So again, third chain from the bottom, right in there, or the third chain from the top, either way, but you want to maintain this edge. So 3 doubles into that same stitch. And there you go. Now, a word about the edge. Now, with some patterns, what I like to do is I like to replace the chaining up of 3 with a chaining up of 2. Sometimes it's more of consequence than others. With this particular pattern, I kept the traditional chaining up of 3. If you want to replace the chaining up of 3 with a chaining up of 2, well, then instead of chaining up 3 or 4 or 5, you would chain up 2 or 3 or 4, the 2 chains counting as your first double, and then you would need the chain 1 space, so you'd have 3 chains. Instead of doing 5 chains, you would do 4, because it would be chaining of 2 and then chain 2 space. I hope that makes sense. Whatever it is that you decide to do, whatever makes you feel more comfortable, whatever your preference is, go for it. So that is the repeat, rows 2 through 4. Let's do a full repeat together, and there you go. All right, let's do it. Okay, so row 2 for the repeat, and I like doing the repeats because I like spending time with you guys, and I like being thorough, not redundant, thorough. So for row 2, start off by chaining up 4 because we need that double with a chain 1 space. So I've got my 4 chains, turn that work. And if you've got a frown, turn it upside down. All right, so skipping the first, going into that second with a double, chain 1, and then double into the next double. So we have our doubles separated by chain 1 spaces, chain 2, then single crochet, pardonnez-moi, single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 2, and then working with this shell, double into the double, chain 1, and double in the double. And so for this shell, it is double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. And there we go. I almost had a tangle. I nipped that right in the bud. All right. Chain 1, double in the double, chain 1, double in the double, chain 1, and double. Okay. Chain 2, single in the chain 5 space, chain 2. Okay, next shell, double in the double, chain 1, double in the double, chain 1, and double, chain 1, and double, chain 1, and double. Okay, chain 2, single in the chain 5 space, chain 2. Okay, we've reached the last 3, so double into the double, chain 1, double in the double, chain 1, and double into that last double. Now, if it really gives you a hard time, you could always just do your double in the space in between the stitches. That's fine too. Personally, I like to try to go into the actual stitch if I can manage it. There you go. And that is the end of row 2 for the repeat. Okay, row 3 for the repeat. Start off by chaining up a 5 because we need to expand our shells a little bit more. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives us the double crochet with the chain 2 space. So double in, not this double, but the next. Chain 2, double into the next double. Okay, scooting along to the next shell, double into that first double. There we go. Chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, and double in the next. Okay. No chains in between, going right in and doubling into that next double of the next shell. Chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, and double in the next. There. Okay, scooting along to the last half shell that we have, going right in with a double, chain 2, double in the next, chain 2, and then double into the top of the last double. So it's either third from the bottom or second from the top. Either way. As long as you get there, that is the important thing. And there you go. So that is the end of row 3 for the repeat. Let's do row 4. Row 4. Start by chaining up 3 to create our first double. Then turn the work. 2 doubles into that first stitch so that we have a total of 3. Chain 2. And not into this first space, but into the second space, single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not this sort of non-chain space, but the next one, single, chain 2, and skipping a double. Not this one, but this one, 5 doubles. It's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, skipping a space, going into the next with a single. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the next chain space, single. Chain 2. Skip a double into that next with 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2. Skip a space, going into the next with a single. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the next chain space over here, single. Chain 2. And then, last but not least, 3 doubles into the top of the last double. Now, again, that's third chain from the bottom or third chain from the right. Either way. 3 doubles. 1 and 2 and 3. Ta-dam! And there you go. So all you have to do is just keep repeating rows 2 through 4, and as always, the timestamps will be in the description box as per usual. And there you go. You can create something absolutely gorgeous pretty darn quickly too. Alrighty, my dears, so that is going to conclude today's tutorial on the open shells stitch. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and I really hope that you liked it. And if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation. And stay tuned for more, because whether it's crocheting, knitting, audiobook narrations, cooking, a little bit of everything, origami, I love it all. And of course, I also have my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. Would love to see you there as well. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and let me know in the comments section, what are you planning on doing with this stitch? Some sort of wrap, or, let me know. Also, what kind of colors, what kinds of yarns? Always curious for your feedback and your input. And until next time, you know what to do, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, and have a great day.